This is Jim Sawyer for CapitalismInCrisis.org. Citizen trust in financial elites is flagging again profoundly. Have you been keeping up with the EpiPen price gouging? Or how about alleged recent fraud perpetrated on its customers by Wells-Fargo Bank? As the nation's largest bank retailer, it acknowledged publicly in September the unauthorized opening of client accounts in a massive scheme to defraud customers under the mantra of so-called cross-selling. The unwitting paid various fees imposed surreptitiously and also endured falling FICO scores from ancillary credit checks in order to bill those being duped. Some bank employees complained. CNN Money cites former Wells Fargo manager Bill Beto. He described using the company's ethics hotline to spill the beans in 2013. 8 days later, Beto says he was fired, allegedly for tardiness. Now he works part-time as a ShopRite employee. Senators from both parties pummeled Wells Fargo CEO John Stumpf at the congressional hearing on September 20th. He was accused of fostering an internal culture to pressure branch employees to meet impossible sales targets just to keep their jobs. All the while, Stumpf and others bonused handsomely from the incentive scheme used to prod minions to sell harder. When public discovery led to adverse publicity, over 5,300 bank employees lost their jobs, even though most were mere pawns in the scheme. Meanwhile, no senior managers have been fired, and Carrie Tolstedt, the program's overseer, is slated to retire soon with over $100 million in additional golden parachute compensation. This isn't cross-selling, said Senator Pat Toomey, Democrat of Pennsylvania. This is fraud. Prior to a second congressional pummeling to come on the last day of September, Wells Fargo announced a $41 million compensation clawback for Stumpf and a $19 million clawback for Tolstedt. Of course, most of their job-acquired wealth remains. Wells Fargo will pay a $185 million government-imposed penalty, but is $185 million sufficient, really? EpiPen outrage continues, of course, unabated. Mylan, the patent's owner since 2007, has raised the two-pack price of the life-saving injection pen 17 times, by a total of 548%. Jason Chaffetz, Republican chairperson of the House Committee on Oversight and Government Reform, claims the so-called juice inside Mylan's device costs about $1 per dose. Heather Brecht, Mylan's CEO, saw her compensation increase from just over $2 million when EpiPen rights were purchased to almost $19 million 8 years later. Of course, then we get to Martin Shkreli, recently deposed 32-year-old CEO of Turing Pharmaceuticals. Under his leadership, Turing raised the price of a 6-decade-old workhorse drug for some life-threatening infections, the drug called Daraprim, by over 50 times, to $750 a tablet. When Pope Francis visited here last year, indirectly, these are the sorts of debauched capitalist schemes he may have had in mind, undergirding admonitions to better care for the natural world and for the economically marginalized. But what are American citizens, what are global citizens to do? Italian political theorist Antonio Gramsci offered a crucial insight almost a century ago that could inform our situation. Said Gramsci, if a paradigm is not performing, then begin at the end, not at the beginning. That is, begin at the outcome a much healthier U.S. economic system ought to be delivering, and then work backward to discover how to grab that outcome. We'll be talking much more, about how to nail the sorts of changes in thinking Gramsci had in mind. Please check out Capitalism in Crisis on the World Wide Web. From Boulder, Colorado, this is Jim Sawyer for CapitalismInCrisis.org.